Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome to another stream. Today, you're first, Wally. Thank you. Amazing to have you all here. Should be a fun topic today. We'll build a little dummy demo Next.js app and play around with Sora 2, with the Sora 2 API, which I think is available since yesterday or the day before yesterday. So really brand new, and what better to do than generate some AI slop, right? So that's what we'll do, yay. But should be a fun project. Should be a fun project to build a little demo project with Next.js where we'll use that API to generate some videos. And hey, I'm paying the bills, so you can just lean back and watch me burn some money on AI generated videos. So hi everybody, hi Abarcode, hi Mjaman, and everybody else who joined. Good to have you here. By the way, I have not used Sora 2 at all before. I have played around with the API a little bit, but only like I generated 3 videos or so. I have not used the app. I don't plan on installing the app. I'm not really interested in getting addicted to AI slop on my phone, but I'm definitely interested in learning what you can do with the API and in general with these new capabilities. Yeah, Alberto Castani, I'm happy that I got you with AI slop. So without further ado, thank you so very much for the subscription. Have I taken a look at Payload CMS? Nah, I haven't, to be honest. The plan for making a Prisma course, no plans on that, but maybe I'll use it in some projects. Thanks so much for the subscription to Seraph. Much appreciated. And Sora is not available in Germany. The app Sora is not available, but the API is available. Wow, those subscriptions are rolling in. Thank you so much. Fetches. Thank you so very much. Working my way through the React Key Concepts book currently as a senior engineer. Can't wait to see what you build. Yeah, thanks so much for getting the book. I hope you'll get a lot out of it. By the way, gotta do a shameless plug. We're talking about this book. If you want to learn React and you want to learn with a book, which is a bit old school, but I personally do like picking up a book from time to time, stepping away from the screen. That might be a nice resource. Anyways, enough of that. The Sora 2 API is available in Germany. I think it's available worldwide. You, I think, need a verified OpenAI account, though, which I have. But fun fact, verifying your OpenAI account is really painful and annoying because you get one try, and if you fail, if they decide that it's not you who is looking at the camera and depicted on the ID, if that verification process fails, that's it. I think you can retry after 90 days or so, or, that's a good hack, you bring someone else into your OpenAI organization, you can have organizations in the account, and have that other person go through the verification and hope that it works for them. Talking from my own experience here. But I got a verified account here. So, oh yeah, the React Conf. I will definitely share some thoughts about that too. Good point. I guess I can do that right now too. Briefly at least. I don't want to make the folks wait that joined for the Sora content. But yeah, React Conf happened the last 2 days, and nothing groundbreaking new there, but some interesting things. The new activity component is quite interesting. By the way, I have a video about React 19.2 on my YouTube channel. And I talk about the activity component there. You might want to watch that. And I like the view transitions component they announced. So I think they're taking nice, small steps towards a better and better React that's arguably also becoming more complex, though. But yeah, I do like these 2 new components mostly. That's my main takeaway, I guess. And of course, I'll take all behind-the-scenes optimizations I get for free too. Yeah, Alberto, if you missed the video, it might be interesting to get a brief overview. To be honest, it's not like a huge breaking new change. It's not a breaking change at all, but some nice features here and there. Our code learning JS frameworks book would be lovely. Yeah, it might be a good resource, definitely. I started the very basics of React there, so, and then we dive deep, so that definitely might be helpful. And regarding Hades 2, the video game Hades 2, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Whenever I have some time off, I'm playing Hades 2 right now. So, with that out of the way, let's now get started. So that's the Sora 2 API here. Again, should be available all over the world, if I'm not mistaken. It is quite costly, I will say that. You essentially got three options. You can use the base Sora model, the bad model, so to say, and that will cost you 10 cents per second. And you can generate videos that are 4, 8, or 12 seconds long with the API. And then you get the Sora 2 Pro model that costs 30 cents per second. And it gets even more expensive if you take if you use a higher resolution. They're not mentioning it here unless I'm blind, but you can use a higher resolution and then it will cost you 50 cents per second. So yeah, I will be generating some videos in this stream, not too many, because otherwise I'll go broke along the way. But yeah, it is quite costly, but we'll see how it works. Now, I got the documentation open here, the official documentation for using Sora. I did play around with it a bit already, but definitely got no advanced experience with that. And I'll just use Next.js. Obviously, you could use any other framework too. I'll just use that because I worked with it quite a bit over the last weeks and months, so should be relatively efficient. So I'm in a brand new empty folder, Sora 2, opened up in Cursor here. And in there, I'll just create a new Next.js project. In that folder here, I will use TypeScript. I won't use linting here. We'll use Tailwind, App Router, TurboPack. That should all be fine. Regarding the 1 hour, you cannot generate a 1 hour long video in one step, but you could, of course, split it up. Because you can, as far as I know, also use an image as an input for the Sora 2 video generation. And of course, you could use the last frame of the video you generated as an input for the next video. And that would allow you to create a longer and longer video by generating it in increments. It's possible, though, that the quality would vary quite a bit if you do that, though. I'm looking forward to the AI slop backlash. I imagine we will see a lot of organically made content of varying quality. Yeah. Well, to be honest, I don't want to dive too deep into that topic here. I could talk an hour about AI slop, and all the negative consequences it might have. And I'm deeply worried about all that. I'm actually not that excited that we got all this AI stuff, and not primarily because I fear it might be taking my job. I don't see that anytime soon, but because of the consequences for like society and humankind. Like with all the AI slop, we already got super short attention spans. That's not getting better. And then of course, there also is the danger of deep fakes and all that. So yeah. I'm worried, but nonetheless, obviously it's there, so I want to explore what we can do with it. So I got a Next.js app here. I will add a .env file because I'll need an OpenAI API key. I'll paste that in off screen, of course. And I also plan on storing the generated images on Cloudflare R2, which is an AWS S3 alternative, which is an object storage. So I'll have my Cloudflare bucket name here. Let's say I name it Sora 2 demo. I'll have my access token ID, and I'll have my secret access token, and I'll paste in those two values off screen later too. So these are the environment variables I'll work with. And then here in page TSX, I want to I'll not add authentication for now. Obviously, in a real app, you would want authentication first, but I want to quickly get to the Sora 2 part. So I'll instead build a page that starts very simple. It should allow us to enter a prompt. It should allow us to pick the model we want to use, Sora 2 or Sora 2 Pro. It should allow us to specify the duration of the video, 4, 8, or 12 seconds. And it should allow us to specify the dimensions of the video. My take on vibe coding, by the way, is that pure vibe coding is horrible. Absolutely not my thing. Using AI as a developer with your knowledge as a developer and steering the AI, using tab completion, using it for adding individual features is not that bad in my experience. So I'll actually use AI here in Cursor. Move that to the left. I'll use Claude. I guess I can use try Claude 4.5 Sonnet. I haven't used that yet, so I'll give it a try here. What could possibly go wrong? And I'll say in this page file, create a page that, well, I'll first give it some context. We're building a video generation app that allows users to generate videos with help of AI. In page TSX, create a page that allows the user to enter the following. Prompt, pick a model, Sora 2 or Sora 2 Pro. Pick a duration, which is 4 seconds, or just 4, 8, 12 seconds, and pick what did I say? Pick what do you call it? Pick the dimensions, and actually I'll have to look that up. Which options are available here? Should be in the API docs, maybe also in the API reference. Size, the size defaults to 720 by 1280, but what are the options? I think the options are, so pick the size. So that is 7 by 1280 or 1280 by 720 because it supports both portrait and landscape. And I think it's something like 7040 by 1280. Could that be? Does that make sense? We'll see once we write the code because it got auto-completion. Upon submission, we want to trigger a server action because we're in a modern Next.js app that, for the moment, only prints the entered values. And I'll create an actions folder next to my app folder. I'll quickly show you. So I created this actions folder here next to the app folder, which contains my pages. And I'll say in my prompt here, store the action in an actions file in the actions folder in this project root. So that's what I'll do. Let the AI generate this. And obviously, we could write this ourselves. I just like using AI for UI generation like this. The UI won't be perfect, but it will typically do the job and saves me the hassle of writing all the JSX and Tailwind code. Yeah, so I'm in the middle of your JavaScript course. It helps me a lot, and just wanted to thank you for all the content you've done, Max. One day I will be a full-time JavaScript programmer. I'm super happy to hear that the course was helpful, and obviously best wishes for the career. It's a huge course, so no easy feat going through it. I know it takes a lot of time, but it should be quite complete, quite helpful. Sure, let's add sort. So yeah, super happy to hear it's helpful, and all the best for a career. How do you find a job as a junior developer? Not an easy question. So what I would typically have replied, and what is still correct, it's just a bit harder, arguably, is build a portfolio of projects. So build a GitHub account, your GitHub profile, work on it, add demo projects there. Don't have to be real projects, but you need something to show to potential employers. So that will always be important. Your CV is one thing, but you want to have demo projects that show your skills. Don't use too much AI in that, and definitely make sure you clean up your code to make it not super obvious when you did use AI. Contribute to open source, but if you do it, be helpful. Don't spam open source repositories. Be helpful in general. Like, build a presence, build a profile which you can share. And then obviously there have been more jobs, more junior dev jobs in the past than there are right now. It is what it is. But in order to stand out, you need to like put in the effort, have that profile and stuff like that. Be creative in your applications. Be flexible regarding the tech stack. If you find an application for a framework you don't know, consider learning it, because if you know one framework, it's typically not that hard to get into another. There have been better times. That is the honest answer. But there are things you can do to stand out, and that would be my tips, I guess. What tool do I use to generate code? This is Cursor with Claude Sonnet 4.5. So here I will now just accept this and run this, and we'll take a look at what we got. And if that is any good, it is localhost 3000, right? Yeah. Yeah, fairly generic. Obviously a purple gradient. That's what you always get. But should do the trick. We can enter prompt, can pick the model, get all that. Should be good enough. So what did it generate here? I will switch that again. Hello. So it gave me a components folder with the video generation form. I want to have a function with the function keyword. It got that. Text area, select options are hard-coded here. We could populate that dynamically, to be very honest. But it will do the trick for us here. So, yeah, should be fine. Now, regarding the actions, we got a very basic action here, generate video, which will log the input. And how is that being triggered? We got handle submit, where we prevent the default, set our state, call the action. We could also use the use form state hook, but I'm fine with that. So let's open the console to see the server logs. Let's enter a prompt like a dog running through the park. Keep the defaults, generate. Obviously, we're not generating a video yet. Got no logic for that, but we got our output here, so that is working. So the next step already is to, we need the Academine purple. True. The next step is to bring in the OpenAI package and use that to talk to their API. So in the action, which I'll accept, I'll import OpenAI from OpenAI. And then we got our OpenAI client. Now I need to insert my key off screen. So I'll quickly do that. Just give me a second. Hello, what is happening here? Oh, wow. Just get a bunch of pop-ups on the other screen. So let's go here. Yeah, don't go manif. So here's Sora 2. Gotta get that OpenAI key. Okay, so I inserted the OpenAI key in the .env file on the other screen. Model is, well, the model is actually coming from the input, so we don't need that. Get some sort validation. We're not really handling the error here, but okay. Yeah. So now it's time to take a look at the official docs, because again, I haven't really done that. And we can create a video, or to be precise, a video generation job by running this command. Now, since generating videos is quite expensive, I want to finish the entire logic to hopefully not waste generations. So I will not execute this code and show how the generation starts. Instead, I want to put in the entire code. So again, I'll use AI. I'll copy that page content here, open my cursor agent here, and then say, again, we're building an AI video generation app using OpenAI's brand new Sora 2 model. In this generate video file, replace the console log with the actual logic for creating a video job with the create function, which I saw in the docs, and a polling loop that retrieves the current video status until it's done or failed. Once done, download the video file and store it on the local file system. We'll actually upload it to Cloudflare in the future, but for now I'll just store it here. Yeah, here's the official OpenAI Sora 2 docs page for reference. So I'll give the AI this context because obviously the AI models I'm using here, Claude 4.5, were not trained on the Sora 2 docs, so they wouldn't know about it. So I'll actually insert that here using some XML tags, which is not something you have to do, but in my experience works a bit better. And then I just paste in that documentation article in Markdown, which I'm getting thanks to this copy page button here. So now it should hopefully give me the code for creating a job and polling it and getting the video. Because I did read the docs in advance, I could write the code myself therefore too, but I also like playing around with AI. What we do here is we create a job, but that request will finish instantly. So that video creation job request will finish instantly, and we'll get back an ID of the video that's being generated. And then we have to query the OpenAI API. We have to send requests to it over and over again. We have to poll it to find out once the generation is done. And once that happened, we can retrieve the video content. We can download the actual video. And there is an example in here. So this is, yeah, really easy to figure out. But that is what I want the AI to do here. Oh, and I should have pressed enter. That would have helped. What would you suggest to start learning after finishing with the Node.js course, Prisma or Sequelize? I would probably use Prisma. I think it's a bit more popular. Obviously, you'll work with different libraries, frameworks, tools in different companies, but I think Prisma is the better choice. Or learn raw SQL. Also not a bad idea, and for the basic operations, also not that hard. But yeah, when it comes to ORM, I'd go for Prisma or Drizzle. Do you prefer the OpenAI SDK or just calling the REST API? I do both, but typically in TypeScript, JavaScript projects, I just use the SDK because with all the auto completions on, things get a bit easier. Yeah, Drizzle, micro ORM, also a good idea. Yeah. Okay, so got some code here. Let's see what we got. We're calling create to start that video generation job. We're setting the model based on the input, which is coming from validated, which is the request body validated through sought. We got the prompt, we got the size, we got the duration. That's looking good. Obviously that's looking good, sorry. Then we got a while loop, which is the same as in the docs, I would guess. We're waiting for 5 seconds. Now here's a trick. Not a lot of people know that, but actually, you can, of course, wait for a timer like this when using promises. You can wrap it in a promise. That will work. But if you're in an async function and you therefore want to have a promise-based timer, you can also import set timeout from nodes timers/promises package or module. So that is the more modern way of doing it. AI, of course, doesn't know about it because all developers are using that old trick, but you can have a promise-based timer like this. And that is therefore an alternative, a shorter one. So we wait for 5 seconds in this while loop, then we retrieve the current status or video information. We check the progress, we log the progress, and then we check for errors. Ultimately, once you make it out of the loop, so once the status is not in progress or queued, we download the content. And again, we also got auto completion here, so that's nice. We convert that into a buffer and then just save it to the file system and return a success response. That's looking good. Now, we're not sending the progress to the client side. Instead, we're staying on the server side here until the request is done. So a better way might be to have multiple server actions, one for starting the generation and then one for, again, polling from our client side. But for now, for the first, initially I'll keep it like this. So that looks good. So I think we can already just try that. Go here, a dog running. Let me reload to make sure we get the latest state. So a dog running through the park. I want to use the base model. I want to use 4 seconds to keep it a bit cheaper. I'll use portrait mode and I'll click generate. And now the request is on its way, and that will take some time because generating that video, I think, will take a minute or so. So I hope this request actually won't time out. I will probably change how this is handled anyways and implement client-side polling. But for now, I'll just keep it like this. So as you can see, I got some logs here on the back end where now the video generation is in progress. Already got 67% done. And once it's fully done, we should hand it back to the backend and store the video in a file. Will we be watching AI Max videos in the future? No, I will not generate myself or my own videos with AI. Though, of course, one thing I will admit that I might do with AI in the future is generate some B-roll with AI. Like when you need like a developer typing on their keyboard. Yeah, I could try generating something like this, but I will not generate my own videos or myself with AI. So we're back on the front end. Obviously, we don't see the video there. We got no logic for that. But if I switch this again, the video should be stored public here. So here we go. Yeah, I think that worked. Now I will say, by the way, this is the worst of the two models, the Sora model, not the Sora 2 Pro model. But even given that fact, I think the result is not too shabby. Like the sound makes sense. Obviously, that is not a difficult scene, but you can probably see some artifacts here and there, but in general, I'd say that's not a bad result here. Oh, sorry if that's too loud. I think that's always if I like capture my audio here, like the system audio, that's too loud, right? I do apologize for that. Yeah. Let me see. I had that problem before, I recall, and even though I tuned it down, yeah, I know it's very loud. Sorry. Where could I turn that down? Here, hopefully. Okay. So I'll try to make that a bit less loud. I'll play it one more time. Let me know if it's still so loud. So if it's still, it should be less loud now, but I have to admit, this is a problem I struggled with before, and the slider that should make it less loud doesn't seem to do so. But yeah. The main takeaway is that it worked, that we generated a video, right? So I'll delete that video now. And the next step now is, of course, to show that video on the front end. So once the generation is done, I obviously want to show the video here. Now for that, though, I want to upload. Okay, it's still loud. Oh, I suck at tech, I guess. Yeah, I'll turn down more sliders and see if that changes anything. Yeah. We'll see for the future videos if that's better. Anyways. Will I try using an image reference? Yeah, if we get to that point, I'll try that too. But first, I want to make sure that we see it here. And for that, I actually want to upload it to Cloudflare. Cloudflare R2. So here I'm in my Cloudflare account. I'll create a new bucket. And for that bucket, I'll choose as a name Sora2demo. That's the name I stored in my environment variables before. Create a bucket. Bucket is ready. Now under settings, I think we should be fine. I will need to create an API key, an access token. I think I do it from the root page, right? Yeah, manage API tokens. But of course, I will not do that on screen here. So I will do that off screen. Create a read and write token and apply that. Hello. So I'm just quickly creating that API token off screen. So Sora2 read and write, apply to the Sora2 demo bucket, create, and then I'll just put those values into my env file for the access token ID and for the secret access key. So I did that off screen. And with that done, I will now install another package. The AWS SDK. So technically I'm typing. Hell, okay. Now that's an intro. Oh, here we go. AWS SDK. What was the name? AWS SDK S3 client. And I also need the S3 pre-signer because I'll work with pre-signed URLs, and I'll explain what that is in just a second. So I'll need the pre-signer package, and I need this one here, client S3. And I'm not using S3, I'm using Cloudflare R2. My screenshot was ready to capture your keys. No chance. So I'll install both packages because I'll upload the video to Cloudflare, and I'm using the S3 packages because they're compatible with Cloudflare R2. So with that, again, let AI do the work. Open a new chat and say, in generate video, we're generating a video with AI. I want you to store that video file on Cloudflare R2 using the AWS S3 SDK already installed. The bucket name is stored in the CF bucket env variable. The access key and ID and secret access key are in the CF access key ID and CF secret access key variables. So that should now go ahead and upload that file. What is Cloudflare used for? For hosting, Cloudflare is a quite versatile platform, and it gives you a CDN, so a cloud delivery network, so a network that can cache files and distribute them across multiple edge zones, multiple small data centers all over the world, so that your website users can get the files, the JavaScript files, the images from the data centers that are closest to them, for example. So they offer that. They offer that CDN caching network. They offer hosting of web apps. They also offer file hosting, file storage with R2. Hey, do it. Which is the service I'm using here. And a bunch of other services too. So it's a really versatile platform. Kind of an alternative to AWS, though AWS has quite a lot of services Cloudflare does not have, and kind of vice versa, I guess. And here we're just using R2 for storing the files instead of storing them locally. That was just a test. Free cloud service providers. I'm not sure if Cloudflare is free if you host a web app there. It might be. The file storage I'm using here is actually free unless you exceed certain limits. But I think you have like 10 gigabytes of storage free, which should suffice for this project here. Yeah, so that's what I'm doing here. So let's see what it did. It's importing the client S3 package, setting up the S3 client. The Cloudflare endpoint is missing. I'll quickly add that environment variable off screen. Not because the endpoint is secret, but because the rest of the information in that file is. So that endpoint is in the end what we get here. That should be the endpoint. Without the bucket name at the end, though. Okay, so I got that. Firebase is free. Firebase is free too, as far as I recall. Yes. So we got the R2 client, and then we're sending a put object command with a file name which we're generating here, and with our buffer. It's an MP4 video. It's being uploaded. Yeah, so that should work, but I won't stop here. After uploading, generate a pre-signed download URL and send that back to the client page, and use it there in a video element to play the video. Now, what is a pre-signed download URL, which I want to generate here? The Cloudflare R2 bucket I generated is private, so it's not open to the public, because it would be kind of bad if everybody could just upload their stuff there. So it's private, but I want to make certain files in there public, maybe even just for a minute or so. so that they can be downloaded by a user, that they can be downloaded and shown as a video in this case. And that's exactly what a pre-signed URL allows you to do. I can generate a pre-signed download URL, which temporarily allows the download of a very specific file if you have that URL that's being generated here. So that's what I want to do. That's what I'll ask the AI to do here. For that to work, I will need to add a course policy here to my bucket, my Cloudflare R2 bucket. Whoops. Let's not make that full screen here so that you can see it. So I'll add a course policy, and I will allow localhost 3000 to get. So that should work, but to be safe, I'll also add allow headers and allow all. Allowed headers and allow all headers. Okay, so that should allow our application running in the browser to use those pre-signed URLs to download and show the video. How did you learn the security part of web development? Did you dive deep in some part? So of course it's an ongoing process. You're never done, as you might have guessed. But yeah, I did dive deep into like the most important topics, which would be cross-site scripting attacks, CSRF, so cross-site request forgery, which is a bit less of a topic these days than it used to be like 10 years ago, but it's still important. Though you typically use libraries that help you with that, I guess. SQL injection. So yeah, you want to do deep dives into those common, most common attack vectors and vulnerabilities. Nowadays, of course, if you're building something with AI, prompt injection is also a problem. So for example, in this app here, obviously you could try to craft a prompt. So I guess, well, no, this prompt here is always just used to generate a video. But if you're building like a more complex workflow where a user prompt is part of a workflow where AI handles that prompt, but where you maybe also do other stuff like fetch data from a database, then the user could try to create a prompt that gets your application to do something you don't want it to do. So that is an additional problem we face now with AI if you're trusting those user prompts too much, or if you're using them without additional checks or with too broad permissions and so on. Okay, so now here we're getting that signed URL with help of the getSignedURL function from that request pre-signer package I installed before. We're returning that. And in my video generation form, I'm then setting that video URL. We could also lift that state up, I guess, but sure, we'll keep it in there for now. We set that after we get the result, and then we show a video. So in theory, I think that should work, and we'll see if it's still too loud. Now I'll say a dog running through the park, chasing a red ball on a sunny summer day. I'll keep the cheap model, 4 seconds, and this portrait mode. Actually, I'll reload, which is good that I did, because that way I find out that the development server is not running. So let's restart that. Can you briefly explain what CORS is? Yeah, sure. CORS stands for Cross Origin Request Security, I guess. And the concept essentially is that websites, web applications, JavaScript running on websites can't send requests to APIs, to websites, you could say, that run on a different domain. So my website here runs on localhost 3000 during development. That is my domain right now of this website. And the browser enforces that this website and the JavaScript code that belongs to it can't send a request to any other random APIs unless sharing. Yeah, thank you so much, sharing. So the browser enforces that this website can't send a request to other APIs, other websites, other URLs that run on, so other applications that run on other domains, unless those applications permit it. And that's exactly what I did here. this file storage here, in the end, is also just a web application, you could say. A web application built by Cloudflare, not by me. This application stores files and is capable of serving files. Now, in order to allow my web application that runs on localhost 3000 to get files from this R2 web app here, I need to allow it. And I do that with a CORS policy here in this case, where I allow applications running on localhost 3000 for GET requests to, send GET requests to this R2 application. If you're building your own API application, you would also need to set the right headers in the responses sent back to the requester to allow that requester, if it comes from the right domain, to access your content. That's the idea. It's a content protection mechanism, though I will say it's not a security mechanism because it's just the browser that enforces this. If you're sending the request through any other way, through a script, for example, it will go through. It's just a browser security mechanism. Next.js, because there is no server. Well, Next.js is a server. The Next.js app has its own server, right? It is its own server. This is a development server that's running here, a Next.js development server. So let's now try this. Let's click generate again. Again, kicking off the generation on the backend, and this will now take a while. And once it's done, it will hopefully upload that to Cloudflare, get that pre-signed URL, and then load that into a video element here on the client side. And we'll see if that works, if AI did the right thing here. So right now it's still queued. Now it started. And I hope it's now not as loud as before. I mean, there are only so many sliders, audio sliders I can change here. So the hope would be that it is better now. But we'll see. Almost done, 99%. Let's go back here and let's see if the video appears. Yeah, cross-origin resource sharing, not cross-origin request security, which would be a nice name too, but not the right one. So, okay, we got one issue here. Something went wrong. Credential not valid. So now I burned I burned 40 cents because I created a video which I failed to upload because my R2 credentials seem to be off. That is too bad. Credentials, access key ID, secret access. Let me quickly check with my off-screen environment variable names. So that is, oh yeah. I had access token ID in my environment variable file. I'll name it access key, of course, and that is the secret access key. Okay, my bad. I deserve to burn that money, so let's reload, put in that prompt and try again and wait again. And now the credentials should be correct. Yeah, 40 cents gone. Well, what can you do? Hopefully now it will work. I'm pretty happy that I did not go to the more expensive or model or a longer video though. So yeah, you gotta look at the bright side. I mean, the money is not gone, right? It's just somewhere else. It's in OpenAI's pockets. And actually it's in NVIDIA's pockets, I guess, because OpenAI, as far as I know, is also losing money. Well, with the API, there may be break even, but ultimately, NVIDIA wins. And I got NVIDIA stocks, so I win, I guess. Or something like that. Anyways, almost done again. Yeah. You always like have to twist it until you're the winner. So let's see. Anything geared towards learning how to produce AI slop is a good investment. Well, that looks good. Now let's see if it's still so loud. I apologize in advance. Yep, so doesn't look too bad. Kreislaufwirtschaft, exactly. Sorry, off topic, my message is so long. I just recently bought your Udemy course on Next.js and I'm really enjoying learning from you. Right now I'm trying to grind through it before I start building my thesis project. Do you have any advice on how I can learn while building without feeling too pressured by the deadline? Well, I think one thing you could try doing is build your thesis project, whatever you wanna or have to build, as a demo project side by side whilst you're going through the course. So when you learn about the basics, set up the basics, build a very basic first version of your project. That way you might simply feel like you're getting stuff done, and you are getting stuff done, whilst still learning. And sure, you'll refine it, you'll refactor it over time as you learn more and more, but nonetheless, you'll not start from zero until you're done. So yeah, that would probably be my advice. Still loud. Volume is better. Loud but better. Okay, so I'll bring those sliders down all the way, almost to the bottom. It's really weird that I have to almost silence that. We'll get there. We'll get there. I should try it off screen, probably. Hi, Emir. Okay, so video generation worked. The video is stored on R2. If I reload here, we should see it in the bucket. It's too late in Korea, so sorry I can't watch more. No problem, by the way. If you can't watch the entire stream, if you just joined right now, on Maximilian Schwarzmüller Extended, that's youtube.com/Maximilian Extended, I will upload the VOD of this stream tomorrow. I upload all my streams there, so this one will be uploaded there too. So you can watch it tomorrow. Yeah, we can probably tell it the breed of dog. So the video is here. That works. I should probably silence it the next time I play it. And I can also like make it less loud here. So that is all working. So now I silenced it. We got that video working. And the result is not that bad, I would say. It's the cheapest model. And to be very honest, yeah, there are some artifacts in the trees. I'm not even sure if you can see it in the stream, but the trees are kind of... There is some unnatural movement in the trees, in the leaves. But if you concentrate on the dog, it's not too bad, I'd say. No super obvious mistake here, unless I'm missing something. So yeah, that's working. Now we can generate a video. Now I got at least two other things I want to do. I want to create a gallery of all the videos we generated. So therefore I also need a database to store the video IDs and the paths on Cloudflare R2. And it would be nice to be able to provide a video, an image input, because the Sora 2 API does support that. There is using image references. You can reference images, though I'm not entirely sure what exactly that here is, how exactly you do that. But that is definitely something I want to try, specifying an input image. So I think we'll start with that. Start a new chat and say, actually, let's first create a git commit. Let's see, is the env file is ignored. Yeah, so working video generation and uploads to R2. Okay, so now with that created, I will add a new feature where I can provide an input image. So we're building a video generation website that allows users to generate videos with AI using OpenAI's latest video generation model, Sora 2. See page and generate video. Please add the feature to allow the user to provide one input image which will act as a reference image. Here's the flow. Drag and drop or click to select area that allows the user to select image. Show preview of selected photo. Upon clicking generate, upload the photo to R2 using a pre-signed upload URL. Or actually, I'm not sure. That's too bad. I'm not sure what exactly I have to pass to OpenAI. Create a video. Where is it? Videos. Create a video. Input reference is a file. It's not a link to a file. There is no example with that though. So I would have preferred if I could have passed a link to a file, but it looks like I can't do that. Do we have some documentation or some example? Because if it's a file, I need to upload the file to my server, to my Next.js server, to the backend there. I'm really not sure what they mean by that. Well, that's a local file, I guess. Okay. It's been a long time since I last handled file uploads with my Next.js server, but I think that's what we'll have to do. Or I could have the user upload it to R2 and then download it on my server, because I probably want to store those user uploaded files on R2 anyways. So I think that's the way, it's the route I want to take here. So yeah, I'll upload the photo to R2 with a pre-sent upload URL, download it on the server side in the video generation action thereafter, send it to OpenAI as an input reference, and delete the downloaded image thereafter. Yeah, I think that's the flow I'd like to have here. Drag and drop, show preview, upload to R2, download, trigger it. So here are the official OpenAI Sora 2 docs. Sora 2 docs, Sora 2 docs, and then let's grab those docs, copy page, put them in here. Oh, and there's one other instruction I want to add at the end. Create a new action in the actions folder for generating those pre-signed upload URLs. Let's see if that works. So the video looks decent. The background is always bad. Yeah, I noticed this too. We'll also try a more expensive model later. Bought your Next course. Didn't realize it's for an older version. Still love your videos. Yes, sorry to hear that. It is indeed not covering Next 4, and also no near-term plans for that. It is covering an older version only right now. Sorry about that. I should probably make that. I'll take a look at that course if if I'm not making that clear enough. Any open source model for video generation? There probably are some open models. I'm not sure if you can really run them on consumer hardware, and I haven't tried any, to be very honest. So definitely not with the same quality as far as I know. Will you publish a Next.js course? No, got no plans for that right now. Also because I haven't used Next.js in like 5 years, so I'm definitely not expert. First time watching one of your live streams, I recommend you to anyone looking for a Udemy course. Your Angular course sent me from making 20K a year as a junior dev to 70K after 8 months. Wow, that's so amazing to hear. Thank you so much for the recommendations, obviously, for the great feedback. Honestly means a lot to me. So thank you so much, Christopher. Truly means a lot to me. Super happy that the course helped. Yeah, so let's see what's going on here with all the, I'll have to shrink that a bit, with all the uploads and so on. So what are we doing here? We got a new action, get upload URL, which does what the name implies. It creates a pre-signed upload URL. Same concept as before with the download URL, now for permitting uploads. For that to work, by the way, I'll have to tweak my course policy. I'll have to edit that and also allow put in the methods. And I know that's hidden by the chat, but I just edited the allowed methods, and besides allowing get, I now also allow put requests, because that is the kind of request we're sending, a put request. It wants to install the icons package. Sure, you can do that. So that's that. We're getting that upload URL. We're then uploading. Then we call generate video. And in generate video, we do what? We check if we got the image key. If we have it, we download from R2. I hope that will work, that we get essentially some raw bytes. We create a new blob and file, and then we attach that as an input reference to that request. So hopefully that will work. And then I don't want to delete. Oh, we never store it locally. Right, we just download it as raw bytes. So actually that is not needed. I don't want to delete the uploaded image. I want to keep those user uploaded images also, so that I can take a look at them and see if they're doing creepy stuff, I guess. Okay, so it's looking good to me. We'll see if that works. If I reload now, we got that new box here. And now I'll just pick an image of me. Look at that guy. So, well, the preview is not ideal. That's the image I just pasted in there. I should probably fix the preview, but yeah, for now, it'll do the trick. So that's the image. And then my prompt will be, make me walk through the desert, suddenly discovering an oasis. Now in a 4-second video that might be a bit short, but since I'm testing this for the first time and it's very possible that things won't work, I'll stick to 4 seconds. And I'll start generating, and now we should upload that image, but I'm getting an error instead. Oh yeah, okay, I read that. The reference image must have exactly the same dimensions as the video I want to generate. So I'll quickly bring up Photoshop here and edit that image. And I'll save it. And I need, what are my dimensions? 1280 by 720. What? No, I want portrait. I want 720 by 1280. So I'll have to. No, we got a little bit of white at the bottom and top, but should be fine. So I'll export that. Save that Max Desert. Okay, delete. Okay, portrait 4 seconds. Prompt is the same. Generate video. And now we'll see whether that will work. That should be an old issue here. So let's see Cloudflare. Is the video uploaded? So yeah, the image is there. The other one was uploaded too because it failed thereafter. Video generation failed. Why did it fail? I got no further details here, do I? Yeah, it's just video generation failed. I will need to log those details. It's very likely that this entire download part here and like working with the raw bytes, because I'm not 100% sure which input OpenAI wants from me here, so I'll have to figure that out. Let's see, video generation failed. I should probably No, I don't want to do that. Why can I not access video error? Argument of type is not assignable. Okay, error. Oh, yeah, because this is an error object, I get it. So I actually want to have like a template literal here. Video error message. So I want to have the error message here. And then I'll try again. At least that won't cost me anything because the generation doesn't even start. I'm just uploading some images, but that's fine. Let's make Max serve the dunes. We'll do that as soon as I get this to work. Oh, your request was blocked by our moderation system. So good news is, looks like submitting the image worked. Bad news is I'm too sexy for OpenAI, I guess. So this is not allowed, I guess. It's quite possible that using people in general as input won't work, though, I will say. So we'll need another image which does not include a human. And what do we do nowadays? If we need another image, we create one with AI. So here I'm in Google Gemini with my account using Flash and create an image with Nano Banana. And I'll say generate an image of, what do we want to create? Let's say of a I'm so very not creative. Of a historic sailing ship in a storm. Let's create that. Is it called a sailing ship? Well, it'll figure it out. I purchased a couple of courses of your course on Udemy, my favorite teacher by far. Thank you so much, Box Polino. Means a lot to me. Super happy you're liking those courses. I hope you'll get a lot out of them. The background color is too naked. Yeah, that's possible. So I'll download that picture. Obviously, I'll now have to resize that as well. So we want to have 720 by 1280. Now that will add some white borders. Actually, what I can do is crop that a bit. And not like this. Crop that with content-aware fill. Use some AI built into Photoshop. And then export that 720, 1280. Export my ship and try that. So here we go. That's that ship. Make the ship sail through the storm. Let's try this. If that works. That's a pirate ship, yeah. Let's see if that works. Or if that's also getting blocked. Obviously, that's also not a realistic image, by the way, but I think that's quite interesting to see what Sora will do with that, which looks more like a painting. So looking good. The video is queued. So we're waiting for progress for the generation to start. So the upload and sending it to OpenAI worked. Now let's see if we'll get a good video out of that. Really interesting that it was not able to use my picture. I wonder if humans in general are not allowed. They might be saying something about that here. Okay. Input images with faces of humans are currently rejected. Okay. Sure. So that, of course, eliminates quite a few use cases, but I understand why they're doing that, though it's probably only a matter of time until it's possible. But yeah, let's see if that ship works. So generation is done. It's being uploaded to Cloudflare. Here's our video. That's quite large. And I hope it's not too loud. I really tuned down all the sliders. I again apologize, but I want to hear it with sound at least once. Okay, it just animated the image. So it's just like animating like a flash, which is actually also kind of cool. But my prompt was make the ship sail through the storm. And I'm not sure if I would call this sailing here. So I just want to check if my prompt is still being sent to OpenAI. I'm validating for my prompt, and I'm still sending my prompt along with the input reference. So I think it should work. So what I'll try is I'll use the more expensive model. So now that will cost me $1.20, but we'll try with that model now. We'll use the more expensive one and see if we get some sailing with that. It might also take a bit longer now with that model. But it's pretty cool that the general flow is working, and obviously like the UI is okay, I guess. Pretty boring, but it gets the job done. If that does work, as a next step, I'll try to add that gallery feature so that we can also view the past videos we generated. And I mean, it's a good way of playing around with Sora if you don't have access to the app yet, because as mentioned, the API, as far as I know, is available in all countries. It's definitely available in Germany, even though we don't have access to the app yet. Would it be possible to bypass the guardrails by referencing people in the images as realistic dolls? I'm pretty sure there are ways of bypassing the guardrails. There always are. Yeah, but you would have to like play around with it and see what works and what doesn't. It might be possible if the person is maybe not the main thing in the image or something like that. That might work, but it's also possible that they just have an AI that checks if there is any face on the image at all, and if there is, they block it. Because, I mean, face detection is a solved problem, so shouldn't be too hard to detect if there is a face on the image. Yeah, but I don't know how exactly it works. I'm pretty confident there are always ways around the guardrails. I mean, there is one guardrail that says copyrighted characters can't be used. So you probably can't prompt for Mickey Mouse or Donald Duck. But I'm pretty sure you can describe a cartoon mouse with big ears living in a fictional city that's inhabited by ducks or so, and you would probably get Mickey Mouse without mentioning him. I think things like that might work. Okay, so the expensive video is almost done. Let's see what we get. Yeah, okay, yeah, so Mickey Mouse might be a bad example, but yeah, you can like basically try to describe what you mean. Yeah, so it didn't sail initially. It like took a second for it to start, and I only have like a 4-second video, of course, so that's not too long, but we got some sailing here. The waves, to be honest, look really weird, but then again, it's a painting, it's not a real ship. So yeah, good, bad, I'm not sure. You might want to create a longer video. You might want to tweak obviously you could tweak the prompt. You could try to put more detail into the prompt, like describe how the waves should behave. I'm pretty sure you can get a decent result if you wanted that. So it's working. Let's work on that gallery feature, therefore. So I'll git commit that. What did I change? Oh yeah, working input images. Input reference images. Okay, so now again, bringing back my AI, because I hate writing code myself. No, I don't, but especially here for streams, it's pretty convenient to have the AI write code, and I can like read the chat and so on. So yeah, quite good for that. That being said though, you want to control what the AI does. So I'll create a new folder in the app folder and name it gallery. Put a page TSX file in there. And then with that, I'll say, we're building, and by the way, this basic information about what the app does, you typically might want to put that into a markdown file, which you can reference instead of retyping it over and over again as I'm doing it here. But yeah, I'll just type it. We're building a web app that allows users to generate videos with AI using modern Next.js. Please build a gallery page /gallery in the page file here. On that page, I want to have pagination and show a grid of up to 10 videos per page the user can cycle through or can click on. When clicking on a video, and actually I'll need thumbnails for those videos. Now the good thing is that we can download thumbnails. The Sora 2 API generates thumbnails for us, which I think is always just the first frame of the video. So when we download, when we retrieve the video content, we can specify the variant, which I think can be thumbnail or something like this. So I will use those. And therefore, I'll actually, I'll go to generate video. And I'll quickly check download content, video ID, variant. Yeah, variant could be thumbnail. The default is video, which is fine here. You wouldn't need to specify that. But I also want to get the thumbnail. So we're uploading the video here. Before I do that, at that point where I know that it worked, I want to get my thumbnail. And yeah, some tab completion here to store that thumbnail for that video ID. Anyways, back to my prompt. When clicking on a video, that video should open in a dialog overlay. Currently, there's no way of fetching videos, so just create a dummy page with dummy data. Use blue boxes as thumbnails for now, and we'll fetch the actual data later. Now I'm sure AI will not take my job. Yeah, I mean, with all the progress, which is pretty impressive, I would say, it still has this clear AI look and certain flaws. Still, I find it interesting to play around with new technologies like this. And to be fair, with better prompting and more by trying out different stuff, you could probably get better results too, but it is a lot of trial and error simply, just as it is with image generation still. Hello Max, how are you doing? I'm doing good, thank you. How are you doing? How are you all doing? I hope you're doing well. I hope you're liking the stream. So yeah, it's generating a bunch of components here. So we'll also need a navigation, of course, because right now I have to manually enter a gallery here. Well, that's beautiful. But it will do the trick. I'll say also add a header to the, is there a layout file? Yeah. That allows for navigating between and gallery. And gallery like this. Like this. So. Okay, so yeah. We're uploading the thumbnail. This will hopefully work. What we will need is a database, of course. We'll need a database because we got those files in the cloud, and we could also kind of fetch those files from there. But what I would like to do is have a database where we store every video with a unique ID and store the R2 key, so the path in our Cloudflare object storage, along with that ID in our database, and do the same for the thumbnail. Or actually, if we give the thumbnail a name that is just based on the video ID, and also for the video, you use just the video ID, then we just need a database table that stores the video IDs, and we can infer the R2 keys for thumbnails and videos from that. But we can also just store those keys there. So I want to have a table that stores all the videos, and for every video we have the video file key and we have the thumbnail file key. And if we had users, we would also have a user ID to whom the video belongs, but we don't have users here, so we don't need that. So with that, we got our navigation here. Awesome. Now I want a database. So again, new chat. We're building a web app that allows users to generate videos with AI. We want to store those videos and thumbnails not just on R2, see at generate video, but also in the database. Actually, not the videos, but the R2 keys. We'll use SQLite via better SQLite 3, so I'll quickly install that package. npm install better SQLite 3 is the name, I think, which is just a utility package that makes working with SQLite really simple. So I'll say already installed. Please add a libdbts file that handles database setup, e.g. wall mode, and table, initial table creation. We want a videos table with unique ID, video file R2 key, and thumbnail file R2 key. use that data in the gallery page to load and display the video's thumbnails. We'll see if that works. Do you have a video blog post about your AI dev workflow or mind talking a bit about it? Purely conversational using Cloud or in Cursor as seen in the last few minutes? Any custom instructions or patterns that work well for you? So typically I use AI the way you saw it here, though if I'm not streaming, I do write more code myself. Like I try to write enough code to make my intent very clear, or if I'm working on a feature where I know AI won't get it right, I write it myself, but I typically try to give AI just enough hints to get it right. And then over time, I see what it's able to do or not do. I do work with instruction files typically. What I like to do is add a markdown file that describes my project, describe what it does, and describe the tech stack in detail. I try to provide a lot of useful context, like copy and paste in documentation pages. And what I really like doing is what you maybe also saw before when I added this functionality for uploading thumbnail. I just start typing and then use tab, 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 as long as it's correct, to use AI for that. So it's really like a mixture of all these things. Yeah, that's typically what I do. I'm using AI quite a bit, I will say. But again, it's all about steering the AI, giving the right context, giving the right information, tell it which package to use, which pattern to use. I don't care as much about that here in this project. Typically, I would give more instructions about how to name components, where to store them, which components to merge or split, and so on. And again, I also do a lot of stuff manually, but it's really like that blend of all that skills, I'd say. Could you share with us some websites where we could find jobs and apply on it? Well, I'm afraid I don't have any specific websites for that. So I could, of course, share Indeed with you and so on, but I guess that wouldn't be helpful because you probably already know that. Any new courses coming this year? Probably not new courses. You should never say never. I'm not working on one right now because I got a bit too many projects. Maybe some updates, but I can't promise anything yet. Thanks to your courses, I learned React, TypeScript, and English, built my career on it, and today I'm hosting a Portuguese event about the same subject. Keep doing the great work. Thank you so much, Vinny. Again, I've said it before, but I really mean it. Means a lot to me. Really means a lot to me. So thank you so much for the awesome feedback. Just amazing. Is Cursor better than VS Code with Copilot? For me, Cursor is better, but I haven't tried VS Code with Copilot for like 2 months or so. It might have caught up by now. I think in the end, they'll probably be... Well, I'm not sure if they'll be equal. But yeah, a lot of the features Cursor is adding are not necessarily features I'm using. So the core features, agents and completions and so on, they might be on the same level already. Nice to see you again. A quick question. What is your main IDE and what do you think of Cursor versus Claude? Right now, my main IDE is Cursor. Claude I used for a month, I think, like 1.5 months ago. I used Claude Code. It was nice, but I just prefer having like an IDE and all the convenience features you get by Cursor, like seeing which changes it made. Obviously here it's an entirely new file, but if it were editing a file, being able to quickly see what changed, being able to accept parts of these changes or all of these changes, like here seeing that it was just this part, being able to just confirm that if there were other changes. That's what I really like about Cursor. So now in the gallery, there should be no content there. If I reload exactly, because I got no videos stored in my database yet. So what I'll do now is I'll generate another video, again with the cheaper model now though, and without an input image, again a dog running through the park to see whether generating and storing that thumbnail works and whether everything is stored in the database. Well, before I do that, though, I want to briefly take a look at the code, though. So dbts, yeah, it's missing the types. npm install -d add types better SQLite 3 run dev. So that's the package we're using for interacting with the database, storing it in a data folder, which is it a folder we have? Yeah, the data folder, got it in there. So that already worked. We can see there is a database file in there. Using wall mode, which is simply a more performant mode for interacting with the database, creating the table with the video key, thumbnail key, and it's also storing the prompt and so on. That's fine. Creating an index, okay. And then some utility functions for inserting a video, getting videos, getting a video count, sure, getting a video by ID, okay. So that's looking good. What else? Video dialog. That's that modal that should open if we click on a video. A bunch of use effect. I'm not sure if we need all those. For handling the escape key, okay, yeah. Well, I'll just keep it for now. So yeah, it's just a div that will be opened as an overlay, I guess. We'll see if that works. Pagination. We already saw that this works. And by the way, just that it works does, of course, not mean that this code couldn't be optimized or shouldn't be changed, maybe. I'm just not spending a lot of time on that here because it's not the main thing we're trying to do here. Get the header for the navigation. Yep, that looks good. Added the header here. Then here, yeah, we don't need that kind of import. We should just import insert video like this. So we're then calling insert video. It's not awaiting this because better SQLite 3 is actually a synchronous package. It's not async, so it doesn't use promises. So inserting a video with the required data should work, I think. Get video, yep. So that's something I see a lot. What it did here, what the AI did is for the gallery page, it created a client-side client component because we got a bunch of state there. And it's then fetching the videos with an effect and a server action. And that is absolutely not how you want to do that in modern Next.js. Instead, this page should be a server component. And we could then fetch the videos right inside the component function body, or with help of a helper function that's called from there. That helper function shouldn't be a server action though. It should be a regular function because again, the component function itself is already running on the server if it's a server component and not a client component. So I don't like what the AI did here. So I'll tell it, I'll say, change the page here to be a RSC, server component, since we're in a modern Next.js app. Fetch the videos right from inside the component function body with help of a helper function to be stored in the lib folder, not a server action. Yeah, so that's what I want to do. How much time does it take me to create a course? I think it's a lot of time. Yeah, it is a lot of time. So it, of course, depends on the course. If it's a course where you need to prepare a lot of demo projects, it's even more, but you can easily say that like a 10-hour course will take me like, I would say 100 to, well, up to 300 or 200 hours to create, I would say. Yeah, happy you're liking the courses, Bleem. Thank you so much. Great to hear you're enjoying them. Which cursor plan are you using, Pro or Pro Plus? I'm using the $200 plan, Pro Plus, I guess. And it has limitations, but with the amount of usage I'm using, I haven't hit them yet. So I can just use max mode for the Claude models, not for Claude Opus. That's too expensive, but I had no problems with Claude 4 and GPT-5 and GPT-5 High. I'm using that a lot, and I never hit any limits there. Yeah, I don't want it to build it. Which tool do you use to store images which belongs to some project? So you mean like here in this app, I'm using Cloudflare R2 for storing the images. So yeah, let's see what it will do here to fix this problem with the RSC. The solution would be to create a dedicated client component and use that, and have no state here in the server component. So I'm not sure why these imports, yeah, those imports should be working. Like the naming here, I'm not a fan, having dash server here. Yeah. So now it looks like a bunch of imports are broken even though they should work. I had that bug before, but I think it should generally be working now. Like here, so get videos. I think I can delete that. That should not be required anymore, that action. Video grid. Yeah, sure. Get videos is that helper function where we get the videos with URLs. And what are we doing here? We are calling get videos, which is that database function. And again, if we had users, we would get the videos for that user, but we don't have that here. We get the video count. And that's done because we're just fetching some of the videos here because we have pagination. So we also need the total count to know how many pages we have. Then we create pre-signed download URLs for the videos and for the thumbnails. And we return that. So that looks good, I think. Here on the page, we're fetching those videos and then we're displaying them here. Sure, we'll see if that works. So yeah, I think that should do the trick. So of course, right now, if I reload here, there are no videos yet. But if I now create one, like again, let's say a ship sailing through a storm, to mix it up. 4 seconds, cheap model. Let's go for landscape for a change. And generate that video and see if that all works, like generating it, uploading the thumbnail, storing it in the database, yada, yada, yada. How do you recommend using, feeling nostalgic regarding what? I might have missed that. How do you recommend using AI to learn the technology in Cursor or VS Code? So for learning a technology, I would actually mostly use AI to ask questions. I would read the docs and then I would probably feed the docs, a doc page, into ChatGPT as context and ask questions, ask clarifying questions. In Cursor, I would probably try to write a bit more code myself and definitely not let AI generate all the code because you learn almost nothing if AI does all the work for you. So you really, in my opinion at least, you need to write a bit more code yourself there, but you can definitely ask or use AI to ask clarifying questions or ask about a certain code snippet which you maybe don't understand or you're not sure what it's doing. What is a free way to deploy a microservice Dockerized app with 6 to 7 services? I will admit I don't know. I'm pretty sure there are some free plans. Typically, what I do a lot these days is I deploy a lot of applications on VPS servers, which are super cheap, like $5 to $10 a month. So I don't know which free services might exist for from various platforms, I will admit. So it's done, it's uploaded. Let's take a look at the database, shall we? Looking good. There is an entry in the videos folder here. So we get an entry with a unique ID, which is the video ID, get the video key, the thumbnail key, the prompt, the model, and so on. So that's looking good. Now here's the video. It's interesting that it also generated like not a realistic ship, but instead like an image, which looks almost the same like the image I used before, even though here I did not specify that image as a reference, so it doesn't know about it. And yet it came up with the same result, even though this is Sora by OpenAI, and that image from before was generated with Nano Banana by Google. So different companies, different models. I find it really funny that we got almost the exact same style. So yeah, let's take a look at the gallery. That's looking good. I'm not sure what that white dot is doing here. But yeah, I can click it, see the video. That's working. So that is working the way I want it to work here. The AI business headshot service you finished, you migrated from Hono to React and Next.js. Yeah, I did. I did move to Next.js there indeed. But not for any particular reason, to be honest. Mostly because when playing around with Hono and its client-side capabilities, well, the documentation for Next.js and the AI support is simply better, and I was able to move a bit quicker with Next.js. Yeah, so there is that. By the way, talking about business headshots AI, which is a little something I built, which allows you to generate business headshots with AI. Not the first one to do it, but pretty good quality. Only 2 input images needed, done within seconds, and pretty affordable, I would say. So yeah, if you need like a business headshot, need to put yourself in a suit and don't want to tinker around with prompts, or you don't have a subscription for Gemini and so on, you can give this a try. It's business-headshots AI. Just a little shameless plug. Anyways, so that's working. We got the gallery. We can generate images. So I would say the base functionality is there. Obviously, there's a lot you could improve. Like the UI is pretty boring, pretty generic. Authentication is missing, and you absolutely would want authentication for an app like this. I would probably implement it with BetterAuth. So that's a great library for adding authentication. I would do that. And of course, payments, right? You want to collect payments from your users because generating videos is pretty expensive. But all that being said, it is working, right? Couple of weird UI behaviors, but we got that working. So now I'd say let's create a more fancy video again with the expensive model, and let's go big. Let's go 8 seconds. So that will be $2.40. So let's not mess this up. And give me some suggestions in the chat. Which video, which prompt should I use here for this video? Can you please make a video on deployment of a Dockerized microservice app, or any recommendations? So I haven't deployed a super complex microservice app, so I'm probably not the best person for doing that. That's also the reason why I don't have a microservices course. I have deployed apps that consist of multiple Docker containers, of course, like a database container, the app container, maybe a migration service and stuff like that. I could create a video on doing that. Typically, I just do it on a VPS. So if that's interesting, I could do that. How do you find your CSS colors and what do you suggest in juniors? So I'm super bad at styling. There is a page which I keep on forgetting, which is really great for colors. What was the name? I should have bookmarked it. I'm just searching off screen if I can find it, but I'm afraid I can't. I do like the default Tailwind colors too, by the way. They're not horrible, I'd say, but obviously also not very. Everybody's using them, I guess. But what is that page? I should have bookmarked it. I can't find it. There are, well, if you Google for create color palette or something like this, you find some nice pages that give you like example color palettes you could use, and I typically get inspiration from pages like this. If you did not make the previous page as use server, what may happen? So in this project here, I did turn this gallery page into a React server component to be able to directly fetch the videos or the video data on that page, on the server, therefore, because this gets pre-rendered for every request on the server, essentially. Now, we could have kept the code that was first generated by the AI, which used useEffect and a server action. We could have done that. It would have worked. It wouldn't have been the end of the world. It's just unnecessary, because what we would do there is we would send the rendered page, which is almost empty, to the client, and then only once it arrived there, we start sending a request back to the server to fetch the video data. And that's really unnecessary. It's an unnecessary round trip. So what I rather do is, before sending back anything to the client, I fetch the data, which I will need to fetch on the server anyways, right away on the server, and send back the finished page to save that extra round trip. That was the idea. I love the Docker course in Udemy. Thank you so much. That's great to hear. Docker is such an amazing tool. Can be like a bit complex to learn initially, and is definitely complex to master, but it's really amazing. Yeah, you need to know it essentially as a developer, I would say. Realistic video of a mongoose fighting snake in a jungle with many people watching from a distance, daylight, intense action, natural jungle setting. So since that's the first prompt and currently only prompt, I'll use that. Still feel free to share more prompts. I might pick another. So Sora 2 Pro, 8 seconds, landscape. Let's go. Let's see if that works. I hope the request won't time out here. Oh yeah, that's another thing we could do here. We might switch our approach here, because currently this request gets sent to my backend, so to my Next.js server, but to the server side there. And now we're like waiting for the video to be generated by OpenAI before we send back a response here. And that generation could take like 3 or 4 or 5 minutes. And it is possible that this request, where we're now waiting for the response here, times out in the meantime. So what I would like to do here, but I'm running a bit out of time now, is I would actually want to send a request to my backend when I click this button to upload this image if provided and to start the video generation job. But then I would like to return immediately. And then on the client side, after this video generation request was sent, I would like to poll the backend, just as on the backend I'm polling the OpenAI servers for whether the video generation is done. So I would like to move the polling from the backend, where it's currently being done, to the front end. That way we would send more requests, not just one. but we don't have the danger of timing out or anything like that. So that might be one last thing we do once this here is done, once this video was generated. Just let alien eating human use it as a prompt. Well, I'm not sure if it will generate that video, to be very honest. I think violence is not supported right now, and it probably will never be. Just let AI generate 10. I guess we're also generating a violent video now, though, now that I think of it. But violence against humans is probably not supported. We'll see what we get here for this video. Just let AI generate 10 color palette concepts in HTML, CSS, and let it iterate on your favorites. Yeah, absolutely. Using AI for like color inspiration is absolutely also something you could do, and I'm also doing it. So to be very honest, like picking colors is such a random process for me. I get inspiration here and there, and then I pick a color, and then I like try to generate a palette and then use AI for that too, and yeah, see what I get. And I should try plan mode apparently, but not right now. Thank you. I learned PWA from your course and now I use Next.js. How can I add PWA, please? Isn't there like a official documentation? Yeah, I would go through that page because I would assume Next.js has built-in PWA support to some extent. So just search for Next.js PWA and you should find that documentation page. So getting closer to the final result now. Just 16% to go. I really hope that works. Those $2.40 should pay off. Another advantage of polling on the client side, by the way, would be that we could show the progress on the client side. Currently, we're just logging it here on the server side, and on the client side, we have no idea what's happening. If it's dead, if the request is still on its way, we don't know on the client side. So that's not a great user experience. So that's another reason for moving the polling from the back end to the front end. But yeah, I'm hopeful that will now soon be done. 99%. I had it before, like this afternoon when I played around with Sora, that for one request it just wouldn't finish. So I hope that won't happen here. I hope it will finish here. And looks like it does. So back to the client side. Let's wait for the video to appear. Here we go. Turn off the sound here, just to make sure it's not too loud. And yeah, looks like a fight. Really interesting that it does generate a video like this, because that does look like violence to me, but yeah, probably looks like it's not a problem for OpenAI. Okay, so now I will finish this up and probably destroy everything. So let me first create a git commit. What did I add? Oh, yeah, added gallery plus storage in DB. So and now I will tell it to move the polling to the front. And so again, I'll say we're building an AI video generation web app with Next.js. Currently, we're sending the request from the root page to generate video to generate the video. And in that server action, we're pulling the OpenAI API via their SDK. I want to pull on the client side though. Obviously not using the OpenAI SDK, but instead with help of a new server action you should add it to the same file though. So we need two actions, one for starting the video generation and uploading the input image, etc. One for requesting the current status from OpenAI, and for returning uploading the video once it's done. Also show the progress on the front end. So that will hopefully do the trick. So this will then hopefully make sure that we don't have that danger of a request timing out, and that we give the user more feedback because we can show the progress on the client side and so on, which is of course much better. So we'll see whether that works. And you can again share another prompt I should use for that last final video then, probably. Just something that's not too violent or sexual or anything like that. Not just because it might not be generated, but also because I have to be able to upload this video on YouTube and monetize it. So yeah, please bear with me. So what is it doing in generate video? It's cleaning up some code here, removing that polling, which makes sense. Instead adding a check video status action, which checks the video status and returns that status, and which still gets the thumbnail and the video and uploads it if it's done. So that's looking good. And then here in the video generation form component, it's managing the progress state and a status state. And it is then starting the video generation. And then what's it doing here? Set interval, storing the reference in a ref, as it seems. To clear up the interval. But oh yeah, it's using set interval as a loop essentially, and it clears up that interval once it's done or fails. Yeah, it cleans up in a failure case as well. Okay. So yeah, let's see if that works. Got no prompts here, but that might also be due to the delay. So I'll just create a cheap video again, a very cheap one. And let's say a fish swimming through well, I wouldn't call myself a wipe coder, by the way, because wipe coding is if you just tell it, please add image upload. I'm giving very specific instructions here how I want it to build, right? So what I just described, that very refactor, which we just did with moving the polling from the backend to the front, that is not something you would do if you were just vibe coding, because you would know that there is a potential problem. So, but it is, I will agree on that, definitely a different way of writing code. Though again, as I mentioned before, in case you missed that, because you tuned in later, I typically don't let all my code generate by AI as I did it here. I like doing that during streams because it allows me, or it gives me more time to chat with the audience. And I don't care as much about having the best code quality or taking some extra loops. Okay, got a prompt here, a peaceful sunrise over misty mountains with birds flying across the sky. Let's go. Now we got our little progress here generating. Let's see if that will change over time, if that works. By the way, that's also something that's different. Typically, if not in a stream, I would spend more time on reviewing that code. But yeah, in queue makes sense. We had that before too on the server. Let's see if that will actually start, and we'll see that progress here on the client side. I'm not sure how often are we polling. Was it 5 seconds? every 3 seconds. I guess we can... is that an error related to what we're doing here? No, I think it's sending those requests. But looks like it really is still queued. Let's double check the backend here. Check video status. Using the retrieve function as before. Forgetting that. If video status is in progress or queued, return that status. Is it really still queued? It wasn't queued as long as that before. That's weird. I'm not sure if it's my code. So we'll do some good old console log debugging here, I guess. If it's my code or something else that's problematic here. Yeah, but the response I'm getting back says queued. So looks like OpenAI servers might be a bit stressed. Might not be starting here. I mean, come on, it's the final video. You can do it. You can do it. Well, that's really great that it's just not going to start. I'll quickly check my funds on the other screen, but there should still be enough money on the account. And I think we'd get an error otherwise anyways. Yeah, there is enough money in there. So yeah, what a nice ending that it just won't start generating as it seems. Or is there an error in my code here? Check video status. Well, that is the correct function though. I mean, we can see this is the code we had before for the server-side polling. Same function with a while loop here. Now doing it in a separate server action that's called from the client side. Yeah, but it just won't start. Really annoying. Do you ever feel it's really painful to make AI understand what you actually want? Sometimes it feels easier to just do it yourself. 100%. 100%. And I'm absolutely not a fan of, and there is the danger of using AI for everything and trying to solve a problem by tweaking your prompts like 4 times and coming up with more creative prompts. At some point, you should really just take the time, go through the code, and fix it yourself 100%. That is one of the most valuable skills you have as a software engineer, that you should typically know what you want to do and how you want to do it. And you should then not try to get the AI to do it the way you want it to, at least if it fails 1 or 2 times, but you should just do it. So yeah, looks like I'm stuck in the queuing phase here. It really feels like there's something wrong with my code, with my approach here, but it's really not complicated or difficult code. It's also not a caching problem because I edited the server action and that change was picked up. But so weird. Do I have a way of seeing that request here on my OpenAI backend? Can I see that somewhere? Not sure. Logs. Let's see. Not really getting anywhere there with that. Huh. Yeah, but we're checking that status, calling that server action, in that server action, using the right function, logging that here. And now I think I broke it by editing that file. Well, that is too bad. Let's try one more time. Sora 2, 4 seconds, landscape, let's go. And thereafter, I'll just call it quits. And I will, of course, attach like a link to the GitHub repo with that code to the video, which will be uploaded tomorrow on, as I said before, my second channel at Maximilian Extended. I upload all my live stream VODs there, and I will upload this video there as well. And in the description of that video, I will put a link to the code so you can run it yourself. And if there is a bug, maybe you can also find or fix it. I'll also have another look and try tomorrow, because again, looks like we're stuck here. And that's really weird that it suddenly would get stuck. Maybe it's some kind of obvious bug, which I just failed to spot here. But yeah, I don't know what's wrong. It is absolutely possible that OpenAI's servers are overwhelmed right now, though, and they're just queuing requests for a long time. In that case, we got lucky that we got through with some requests. So I'll cancel it here because I gotta leave. I hope this was helpful. I hope this was nice. Marku, thank you so much for that very nice message. Super happy that you learned React thanks to me and my course. I do not plan to create a microservices course because I'm not an expert on that, to be honest. So sorry, no. And yeah, I hope this stream was helpful. I hope it was a fun little project. Again, you can watch it tomorrow, get the code tomorrow from my YouTube channel. Don't know what I'm not too happy about a future that's full of AI slop and deep fakes and all that stuff. But the technology is there. It was fun playing around with it, and yeah, I hope you liked it. See you in the future, in future streams, hopefully. Have a good day, afternoon, evening, whatever it is for you. Bye.